Okay. So when let me introduce myself because it's the first time I meet you, and I will be looking after your payroll implementation side as well as the employee self-service, which is the portal that the people can apply leave requests and get their pay slips, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. And your role in the organization, if you don't mind, just tell me a little bit.
I do payroll and sales and accounts payable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you will be the main person processing pays, I assume?
Or
is it Rina?
Yeah, payroll, yeah, I will be.
Okay.
And yeah, Ronnie as well.
Yeah.
We both do the job.
Yeah. So when there's a new employee coming on board, will you be creating the employee record in the system and
Yes.
including giving him or her the access to the employee self-service?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen, which is your test tenant?
Yeah.
Okay. I apologize that I am having some issues with the pay group, so I may not be able to cover all the topics I originally planned to cover today, but let's see, we'll do as much as we can, and we might book a second session with Rina together to complete the rest of it. Okay. To start with, obviously you need access to this tenant. You already have a login, I believe.
Yeah. Just give me a second, I'll log in from the other computer.
And in the later part of the training session, I might ask you to share your screen so I know what you are, how much you gathered. I might just talk and guide you to navigate through the screen, but I want you to show your screen. So if you can check your login, and we'll make sure your access has been set up properly.
Yeah.
Are you use this account's login, do you?
Yeah.
So as a payroll user, you need to have people user license. And you also need to have people payroll role. So I'm giving you this one. Now, if you log in, you should be able to see payroll or people.
Yeah.
If you don't see people in the left panel, you can go to more items, and that should have a big block with people.
Where?
You're in the system?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me.
More item?
More item, and you should have a big icon for people.
Yeah.
And you can click on this pin to pin it to the left, so it stays in your left panel.
Just one second. Oh, okay. Why it keeps me on? Yeah, okay. Now I'm in people.
In people?
Yeah.
And do you see a menu, something like this? Pays, pay reports, employees, and entitlements, etc.?
Yeah. Always pay details. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And manage pays. Process payslip. Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
see.
That's all right. Have you been have you go through any other trainings regarding how to customize these menus?
No. About payroll? No.
About payroll, and the same logic applies to other modules as well. So once you pick up a module in the left panel, on the right hand side, it will show the menus applicable to that modules. Okay,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of menus.
Yeah.
To help you to work more efficient, you have the ability to customize, to create your own quick menus. So those most frequently used menu, you can group them together, and usually by default, you only see those quick menus. That just make your work desk a lot more cleaner, and you can work more efficient. Have you been covered this in the other training sessions regarding? I hope.
Now, the one that I know that we can put them as in favorite, and we can access them quickly.
Yeah. So other than that, you can customize your quick menus. So you can see there's a steering icon on the top right corner. If you press it, then it gives you a list of full menus, and those ticked are added to your quick menus. Okay. So usually we customize this to those most frequently used menu items. For example, well, the pies you would be, I probably will do pay history inquiry quite frequently. So I want this one to be in my quick menu. And on the other hand, I want this pay comparison. So it's a report to compare this pay with last pay or any other selected pay in the system. You can see the variance why this pay is different from the others. So that's a very helpful report. I probably will add recalculate standard pays as well. I'll tell you why. But I would not include maybe employees because there's already a big icon on the top of the screen for employees. So I don't really need a small menu item at the bottom again. It's a duplicate. And we are not using reporting group. I'm taking it out. So that comes.
Reporting group?
You're not using it in payroll at all. So don't worry about it at all. So yeah, the batch one, the superannuation, when you pay super, you want to be able to create a superannuation batch in the system and pay it. And you want to be able to view the details of the batch. So I usually tick these two.
Superannuation report and transactions. Yeah.
So the company data, you only use it once when we set up the STP, so probably you don't need that one. And the payment summary is completely retired, and we don't worry about them. And you are not using timesheets, so we can untick these two. And as far as I understand from Renia, that we are not going to accrue work cover per pay, and you just expense it when you pay work cover. So you can get rid of this as well. Yeah, payroll tax and liability report, you will frequently use them, and the rest of the items. Yeah, and that's just my suggestion, but as you work in the system, you can decide what you want to be included as quick menu. Once you finish this setup, you just click on exit and it will be auto-saved. Now you will see those removed menu will disappear from this quick menu. Yeah, if you want to access those disappeared menu items, you can click on this show all, then system will bring you to the full list of all the menus available in the system. But by default, if you if you come to people module, by default system show you the quick menu. You don't have to worry about those that infrequently used menu items.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the thing. Cover. Now the next thing I want to highlight is at this stage I should have checked your user ID. As a payroll user, we want you to register for two-factor authentication because your user ID will be lodged in STP. So we want it to be more secure. And in fact, after in the most recent version, every user is forced to be using two-factor authentication to log into the system. So I will be sending you the two-factor authentication instructions, how to register for it.
Yeah.
You need to complete that one before the first live pay run in the system.
So okay. We need to activate two-step verification before first payroll. Yeah. Yep.
Now the second quick thing, since we're mentioning STP, I've enabled STP phase 2 in this test tenant, and I think we will be starting with STP phase 2 directly from the first Pi. Do you agree? Are you using STP phase 2 in your current payroll software?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the same concept that from first Pi you will be reporting STP in STP phase 2. I will also send you the instructions to register a new software ID for this system. I believe you already registered the STP for your current payroll software. It's a similar process that you need to register this new system with the ATO to say, yeah, this is my valid payroll system from now on.
But this one's Rania will do that. I'm not.
Okay. All right. Then I will just send instruction to Rania.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to because payroll alone linked to other modules as well. The first thing I want to verify is your bank account to pay payroll. Is it from this operating bank account? Do you use this account to pay payroll?
No, it should be another account, I think.
It should be another one.
I'm not sure about the accounts because I have no details about those ones.
Okay, I will get Rania to confirm if there will be a new bank account or not. And if I show you these account details, do you know it is the right bank account? Because I understand that Rania is going to register a new company for payroll.
Yeah, I think she gave the bank account details. Yeah, I think that's the one.
I get Rania to confirm. All right. And that's the bank account. And the second thing we linked to the other module is the suppliers. Okay. Payroll requires a couple of special suppliers. The first one is ATO for PAYG, obviously. The second one is the Department of Human Services. That's for child support payment. Yeah. And with the child support, what this system does is the money deducted from the employee's pay will be remitted to DHS per pay. So system treat DHS as a special employee and have their bank account registered. Someone is.
I think you are in test. That's why.
No. I have entered this detail multiple times, and it always kept disappearing. So, well, anyway. The key point for today's training session is on this supplier, we need DHS bank account registered. So this is the bank account you are going to pay child support deduction to.
Yeah.
On the same side, we also want a liability account for child support payable, but I noticed that there's none. So probably the best one I can find is other payroll liability, or we can get a new GL account created for child support payable.
1 second, give me a second. I see what's there. Which one do you need to?
While you're doing that, I'm just changing this one back to where it should be.
It's APO reporting category is deduction, union or professional associated fees.
So, no, we don't have this account here.
It's in deduction, under deduction.
No, that's a GL account, cannot be deduction. So it must be a liability account.
Yeah, it's just a child support.
Is it a code for it?
Liability.
Is there a 5-digit code for it?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yeah, it's under it's new account as a child support payments.
Okay.
Under liability.
So maybe I just need to add it. It's not available as yet. Do you know the code for it?
This is another system. This is the one that we use. It's MYOB account, right?
Oh, okay. So it hasn't been added here yet.
No,
maybe.
no. In this one, no. I was just checking. So how can I add the new account? You went to finance?
It's under finance. It's under charter of accounts. And I'm in test. Yeah. So I feel more comfortable to start from the test system.
Yeah.
And then you can click on a plus sign and it will allow you to enter the new code for the child support.
Yeah.
Do you have the code handy? Maybe I just use the same code.
The other system is 2-1510.
121510.
Yeah. Child support payment.
And it's a liability account, isn't it?
Yeah.
So on that supplier, instead of other accounts, we want this child support as the account. Really? Yeah, it's child support payment 21510. 21510.
So it's deducting, yeah?
Yeah, it's
Deducting
not,
from payroll.
it's, yeah, it's of course it is. $21510. I think there's something happening with this test tenant, because the similar thing I have with the pay group. We'll investigate a bit further, but for today, you just need to remember that this account needs to be the child support payable account.
Yeah.
We'll put that into a live system. And second, the other supplier we will require is the super clearinghouse. And I think it's probably override written again as well, but this one hasn't. So on this super clearinghouse supplier,
Yeah.
what do we want to make sure is the GL accounts is the super payable account. Okay. We can start our main. Let me get this numbers. Okay. Now let's come back to the pay people module. Let's start to look at further details on the setup in here. And the very first one I'm going to talk about is the payroll preference. Okay.
Okay.
What, you know, when you pay employees, there will be a small note appearing on their bank statement to say what this payment is for. Usually, is people just say pays from the company or something.
We write
What's your current?
Wages from A grade.
Something like this?
Yeah.
Okay. And this pay clerk's name is the person, the contact information will be stamped on each individual STP and sent to the ATO. So once they received, if they have any queries, they may contact this person either by email or by phone. What would be the right contact in your organization? RANIA?
Yeah.
And do you have the email address handy?
For Rania, at this point, I think it should be Rania at agradealuminium.com.au. It might be, I think.
I'll get Rania to confirm that. And I'll leave the contact number as it is and we'll change it. Okay. This part defines how the payslip will be sent to the employees. Do you want to email the payslip with a PDF copy?
Yeah, email and print. Yeah, is it?
Yeah, but it's the
yeah.
default method is email, isn't it?
Yeah.
Majority will be emailed.
Yeah.
Okay. And
can you please click the arrow? I want to see what other options available. Okay, so only email. Okay, that's good.
When you say it's email notification, they basically just get a little notification, a short text in the email with the link. Oh, just telling them that this payslip is not available in the employee self-service portal. So they can actually log into the self-service portal and get their payslip by themselves. There's no PDF attached to the email.
Yeah.
You prefer with the attachment or without the attachment?
And with attachment.
With, okay. Now, with the attachment, do you want the system to add a password to the PDF file?
No.
Okay. And then we disable that one. I think, okay. Yes. And I understand from Rania that you would like to register the Mile Pay Super service. So when you pay the Super, you just create a Super payment batch from here, and it will talk to the Mile Pay Super service directly, and will deduct the fund from your nominated bank account, which would be pre-registered. Okay. But this is a test tenant, so I will not enable Pay Super service here. We'll only enable it in the live tenant. And because you pay Super quarterly, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that gives us a couple of weeks after the first pay to settle and register your Pay Super. This is the SBI registration I was talking about to register the new software ID with the ATO. So that has to be completed before the first pay run. I will send the instructions to Rania.
Yeah.
When we are ready, we will need to enable the STP in the system. We are not yet, and this is a test tenant. We're not going to enable yet. However, I did enable the STP category, STP2 in your system, so that you can see the latest setup required for STP phase 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's no lodgement because this STP hasn't been enabled at all. That's your quick view of your payroll preference, and certainly we have some questions to be answered and a couple of things to follow up, but it should be okay. The next thing I would like to talk about is the pay group. Okay. That's the one I'm having trouble with, but we'll sort it out. What this pay group does is to define your pay frequency and the pay period date. I'm playing and create the two in your system, but literally you only need one, because from my understanding, there will be only maybe maximum 5 employees in this new company. Yeah. It's probably not worth to split them further to 2 pay groups. So you will have one pay group called weekly, and your standard hours per day per week is 38 or 37.5?
38.
38?
Yeah.
So per day is 10.6. Per week is 38, 1976. Now I know that's a Monday to Sunday, but you paid on Friday.
Yeah.
Your pay group. And the next one we are going to cover is every employee will be assigned to a department. I don't have details about your department, and with 5 employees, it's probably not worth setting up a sales department or payroll department or finance department. It's probably a little bit overkill. So I just put one there and say default department, because it's a compulsory field that you have to assign a value on the employee record. So I just
but we can, if we for later, we can add from that plus.
Yeah, you can click on the plus sign, add additional if you in future say you have a grow bigger, you want a marketing department. Okay. And then once created, you can start to assign employee to the new department. I'll get rid of this one for now, just to make it less confusing. The next one is required is the position. So every employee will be assigned a position. I'm not 100% sure whether there is position structure in your new company, but assuming there's none because there's only 5 employees, you probably just say it's a default position, or maybe say staff.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everyone be assigned to this position. Same applies to the department. If when you need it, you can actually create additionals.
Yeah.
And then reallocate employees to the new positions.
Yeah.
You will not be able to delete a position code if you have employee assigned to it.
Yeah.
Sense? Now the next one is important. Yeah, I think this one is definitely being, I'm updating this one. I think at the background, somehow this is being refreshed and deleted, or my change was deleted. Anyway, calendar, the word calendar is important for 2 aspects. The first thing is for leave requests. So when an employee asks for a 1 week's leave and there is a public holiday in the middle of the week, just one day, you want the system to be able to identify there's a public holiday in the leave period and automatically reduce the leave requested hours. Okay, so when people raise a leave request, they say I'm Monday to Friday off for the whole week. Through working calendar assigned to the employee, system will be able to say, hey, for this employee, Wednesday is a public holiday, so he's actually requesting 4 days annual leave, and I'm only reducing 4 days leave balances from this employee. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's important that to keep this updated and maintained for public holidays. And unfortunately, there's no automatic process. So somehow you need to put a task on your diary or your calendar to update the next year's or next 2 years public holidays. Because people usually request leave in advance. So maybe we are only in all.
It's not like that because end of each year in December, our factory will be closed for 2-3 weeks, and that time is for the annual leave for all employees, and everyone agreed to that. Any leave before that, it's unpaid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a little bit unusual. I didn't remember that Rania mentioned something like that, but I didn't realize that any leave before, any leave other than that period is unpaid.
Yeah.
Okay. But the annual leave is 4 weeks.
Yeah. We pay our employees 4 weeks.
And the end of the year, your factory closure is 4 weeks as well?
Yeah, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Yeah.
But what about the balance of 1 week? Does it get accumulated on the employee record or gets paid out?
Cash out, yeah, paid out.
Cashed out.
Yeah. It's paid out, yeah. We pay them on the bank account.
Oh, that's all right. That's okay. So they are not able to request annual leave at all. How would you let those unpaid leave to be processed? Are you happy to manually enter it when the pay is being processed, or do you want the system to be able to keep track of them and raise them as a leave request, or what you're currently doing?
When someone is on leave, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I process as an unpaid leave.
When you pay the employee.
Yeah.
Okay. We probably can do the same thing. We can take that stress out of the system, unless you want enhancement around that area, then we can do a further discussion, because this system allows employee to request leave, gets approved, and then processed to the pay. So potentially, the employee can request approval in advance. Say next Monday, I'm going to be off. Can be treated, and that request goes to the manager for approval.
Yeah. Okay, so activate that one. That's good. I think that's good. If we want to use, we use. If not, no. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Then, so your leave. How is your leave approving hierarchy? Is it go to one person for approval, or every person have their own manager?
Yeah, we have one manager, and they report to manager, and if it's approved, it comes to us, for example, as a payroll, and then we know that this person is on leave, and yeah.
All right. So, do you know who will be the manager of the new company, Rania?
Funny, yeah.
And I will just say all leave requests goes to Rania's for approval. I might double confirm with her and see what's her opinion. But this system is capable that they can request, saying that I'm on leave on a certain day and get approval before it's really happened. How about the sick leave?
Sick leave, they need to provide the doctor certificate.
Yeah.
And each permanent position, employees full-time permanent positions, they get 10 days sick leave per financial year.
Yeah, cool. And that's paid.
Yeah, that's paid.
Okay. All right.
That's
so that's
personal,
also
personal leave. Yeah,
personal
that's
leave.
our personal leave.
Yeah, personal leave. So that working calendar will help that scenario as well. If they take a whole days,
Yeah.
if they request say whole week is the personal leave, and there's a public holiday for in between, from this working calendar system know that it's only 4 days rather than 5 days. So I stress that you need to put a note on your diary and maybe fix the date every January, beginning of the January, you update the system with the next 2 years public holidays, so that people can use it. Do you have part-timers, permanent part-timers?
Maybe in future.
Maybe in future, not now. Just a note there. If in future you have to, you would employ permanent part-timers, you need to use this working calendar to nominate how many hours they are going to work each day, on which day they work.
How we should do that?
Okay, so I'll take this one as an example because it is test tenant. I can just enter in and wipe it out. I may say 3 days. Well, usually with the part-timers calendar, I will use the employee ID as the calendar ID. I just say employee 1900, for example. Give it a name, first name, John Smith. And it's in Sydney. And he's not working full-timer. I only work the first 3 days. And every day is actually, for example, 9 to 4. 4, 0, 0, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0.
And the first one is AM.
Yeah. Tricky. And maybe with 30 minutes lunch break.
Yeah.
Guessing it. Now system knows that John is only working the first 3 days. So
Yeah.
if he raises a leave request for the whole week, system know only 3 days leave to be deducted.
Oh, okay.
So that's how you maintain your work calendar. Every employee will be assigned to a work calendar. All your full-timers can share the same calendar, say FT, Sydney, 1976. Your standard hours from 9 or from 8?
Factory will be from 7:30 to
7:30
4. Yeah,
to
4.
that's not exactly 7.6.
Because in a factory, they on Fridays they leave early. That's why.
Oh, okay. If then the employee take a leave on personal leave on Friday.
No, it's not personal leave. It's like a because they working extra 2 hours, they leave that 2 hours early on Fridays.
So
But
can you
I'm
tell
not
me?
sure if how it will be with the other factory. But for now, it in here it's like that.
So Monday to Friday, same hours per day.
Yeah.
And if it's 7.6, then I would assume it is my calculation. Starting from 7:30 and finishing at 4:06, 4:36.
3:36.
Is it the right one or?
3:36.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 3:36. And with a lunch break or not lunch break?
Yeah, with a lunch break it will be 30 minutes.
Okay. So is that? Oh. Yeah, exactly 1976. That's perfect. So all the full-timers will be using this calendar, and part-timers, they will each have their own calendar. So when they decided to change their working hours or work patterns, it's free to change. I'm not sure if you noticed, if you have a public holiday during the year, you go to the exceptions tab and add the public holiday in. Say for New South Wales, I know 3rd of October is a public holiday.
Oh, we have to do that manually, yeah?
Yeah, for now. I know there's an enhancement request around that area and trying to improve and make it more simpler for you. But at this stage, it's manual. And the worst thing you don't want to hear is you need to maintain this per calendar. So if you have 10 part-timers, you have to add this one 10 times.
But we can copy and paste.
And yeah, you can. Generally, you can, but it's one time for all. And hopefully by the beginning of the next year, there's some improvement around this area, so make it more simplified to add new public holiday. That's your working calendar. The next topic is about the entitlements, and basically when we talk similar as account right, entitlement is your leave, annual leave, personal leave, and long service leave, etc. And I have put their annual leave. This is set up for the annual leave. It's quite standard. Just showing balance on the pay slips, and people can show the balance in the employee self-service portal as well. And they can also project the leave balances. say, I want to know at the end of the year how much annual leave I would have.
Yeah.
So that's going to be accrued per pay.
And it's from July to June, yeah?
Yes, July to June. No, not really. It's from the start date of the employment. The annual leave, they are entitled to get it once they started. Is it right?
None of the
Is that,
okay. Yeah, I understand.
yeah. And in payroll, we will all the changes I made has been lost, so that's okay. And personal leave is similar. It's just a half of the leave accrual, right? But it's not going to show. It's not going to be shown on the pay slips. It's not paid out. And I don't want to show the leave balances on the employee self-service portal either. So that's usually the standard setup of the personal leave. And I know it's probably too early to talk about long service leave, but this system can accrue long service leave per pay.
Yeah, that's good.
As an estimate, when you terminate the employee, you will have the an estimated accrued balance and an estimated entitlement balance. But however, I suggest you don't trust the system. Just pay the hours.
Yeah.
You have to do manual calculation, make sure what you are going to pay on the long service leave is accurate. But I would set up this long service leave accrual as an estimate in the system. Based on the New South Wales, it's 10-year service, they get starts entitled to 8.6667 weeks. So it's roughly calculated about that amount. And when I look at your chart of account, I noticed that there's actually no long service leave provision account currently in this system. How are you calculating provisioning long service leave in the ledger? Or is it a question more to the accountant or Rania?
It's accountant.
Okay. I will leave it not posting to ledger for now, and I will get a response from Rania before we change, because we can decide based on your preference. We can just configure it either to post to ledger or not to post to ledger. We can also decide whether we want to post to ledger from day one or post ledger from 10 years after they get entitled.
Oh, okay. So that one confirmed with Rania.
Yes, okay, that's all right. But when you set up the employee, that's one of the entitlements you need to add it to their standard pay and say that it's eligible for long service leave.
And sorry, if we finish in long service?
Yes.
Okay, so can you please go to annual leave?
Sure.
So is there any annual leave loading as well on the chart of account or not?
Yeah, that's actually my next question is on the list. Annual leave, I presume is posting to the ledger.
Yeah.
And it's posting to this annual accrual.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or is it a different account?
Oh. Second option. Which one?
21000.
No, I can't see anything here. It just well, I don't know.
Okay. I'll get Rania to confirm if that's the account should be posted, and you want the annual leave loading to be posted to the ledger as well?
Yeah.
Or is it to be confirmed by?
Yeah, confirm with Rania, but I need that annual leave loading be on the payroll.
We can add it onto the pie, but the question is whether you also want it to be posted to the ledger, the 17.5% as an additional liability. Because based on your answer, there are two different setups and we need to tackle. Is it everybody entitled to annual leave loading or only selected people?
The selected people. Annual leave loading, yeah.
Yeah.
Select usually, sometimes selected people and sometimes, yeah, depends.
Okay, now treat it as a selected people and we can check that on the employee level. Okay. And other than this annual leave, personal leave, and long service leave, you can also let the employee to request other types of the leave. One simple example is the leave without pay.
Yeah, unpaid leave.
Yeah, they can request it and gets approved. So if you want that to happen, we need to create that leave without pay as an entitlement here. I'll just say leave without pay.
Yeah, unpaid leave.
Unpaid.
Yeah.
What do you want to number it? Hold it.
Unpaid leave.
Unpaid, something like that.
Yeah, unpaid.
Yeah, that's the code.
Oh, okay.
Unpaid. Oh, unaid. Unpaid.
Yeah.
And I say this one is unpaid. Sorry, I can type. Leave. And with the unpaid leave, because you don't want the system to keep track of the balances, etc. So you can mark it just a leave, but it's not accruing entitlement. So people can still request this leave, but there's no accrual calculated. Is there any other leave types you would like people to be able to request? Oh, if don't have, then don't have, doesn't really matter. Some organization may have study leave available to employees. In that case, they can create an entitlement called study leave and mark it as a leave and non-accrual entitlement.
So we can add it later if you need.
Well, you can add it when you need it. Yeah, that's true. That's your entitlement. The next topic is a little bit long. There are a few things to cover in that one. They are all related with pay item configuration. So let me start with the first one, which is purpose. So in this system, we have a concept called general ledger purpose. So payroll, on every pay item, you need to tell the system what kind of GL account you want to post it to. For example, if it's an annual leave taken, you want it to go to the annual leave accrual, the leave provision account in the ledger. And what's the number, the actual number, we'll set it up in another screen on another screen. But here is literally a mini chart of account of the payroll related GL accounts. All the whole list here are stock standard. I haven't made any changes. There are a few that's not applicable to your organization, like the toy and RDO, etc. We can ignore them or disable them if you really think that's not going to be applicable.
What's those one for?
This is a mini chart of account of payroll related accounts, including expense and liability.
Yeah.
Okay. So RDO, you don't have anybody accruing RDO because Friday they work less hours, but literally actually consumed RDO directly.
Yeah.
And then there's no social club payable, and I can get rid of them as well. And there's no toil so far. You do have union fees. Time off in lieu.
Okay.
Right? So we can disable those that you are not using. And if needed, we can add additional that you will be requiring. For example, you pay bonus. Do you?
Pardon?
Bonus. Do you pay employee bonus?
Bonus.
Yeah. When you pay employee bonus, which GL account do you post it to? Is it just normal salaries and wage? So do you have a special account?
Normal salary.
Okay. And when you pay employee commissions, does it go to normal salary and wage? So do you have a special account for commission?
No, it just
Salary and wages, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So these kind of things, it worthwhile to run through all your pay items. This is the file that we received about your pay items. So literally for every items here, we need to review them and see if there's a corresponding GL purpose for it. Okay. So that one is easy. That goes to the salary and wages. Advance. Is it long or something?
Sometimes the employees asking for advance payment.
Okay. Do you charge it to the salary and wages when they ask?
Yeah.
It's technically it's not
a base hourly, not base salary.
Oh, there is a base
yeah.
hourly down there somewhere.
Yeah.
So do you pay everyone base HR?
Yeah.
You don't use that one at all?
Depends. Just keep that on the account. That's fine.
Okay. And that's one we've talked about. What about other income?
Other income.
To the employee.
Wages, yeah.
Wages, okay, that's okay. Back pay, I believe is wages as well.
Back pay, yeah.
And the overtime, time and a half and double.
Wages. Yeah, they are salary and wages.
That union thing is a deduction to the employee's pay, and right? And when you deduct it, does it post it to a special liability account in the ledger, or not at all?
Union fee.
Is there a union fee payable account?
Why it's attached to superannuation pay?
Or do we need a separate GL account, just like a child support payable or something?
Yeah. All deduction are I need to create new chart account, chart account.
Oh, okay.
So for example, we have garnishee order here for one of employees, for example. So we have created the garnishee employment payments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, the garnishing employment payment, it would be this one.
Yeah.
I just say gar, I will understand that.
Yeah.
Know that there's already. So in that case, none of these GL purpose will be suitable for that. So we will need to create a new GL purpose using the plus sign. And all GL purpose has a prefix of GLP. We just put GLP. Yep. And that's not for child support, right? It's just the garnishing order.
Okay.
And it's a liability.
Yeah. And even the advance, I can see advance employee payments. It's liability.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's
Yeah.
not literally a salary and the wages.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. Well, I will edit that one to your system and advance. Which GL account is supposed to be posted to? Do you have the full 5 digits number?
This is something in the account NYB account, right? I don't know if you want to use same account number or.
Oh, you haven't created it. All right,
Oh.
that's fine. I'll just get the number later. Know that there's a discussion order for it. Advance. That's new as well. And that will be the annual leave AL provision account, of course. That's all good. Super. And telephone allowance, is it SW salary and wages or you have a special account for it?
I don't have any special account.
Just SWE, salary and wages.
Yeah, I don't have any.
How about the motor vehicle? Is it a deduction or allowance? The code is allowance and description is deduction. Is it a deduction or allowance?
Oh, that's allowance. It should be allowance, but
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I wrote this. No, that wasn't me. It was this one sent to us. That's why.
So it's allowance.
Yeah.
And the GL side, is it as the salary and the wages or something different?
I think it will be salary and wages.
That's okay. And that's public holiday, not worked payment, isn't it?
Yeah, the public holiday that system calculates to pay employees. You know?
Okay. Yeah. So that's a public holiday not worked. Workers' compensation, salary and wages, or do you have a special GL account should hold workers' compensation payment? Okay, that's all right. Usually people have a liability account sitting on the ledger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when they receive the payment, they go into that account. And then when they pay employee, they debit it out from that account. But depending on your structure,
The workers come, yeah, do it as a yeah, salary and wages.
okay. That's okay. That one I've got the PAYG. All right, so literally I'm waiting for a few new GL accounts to be created. Then I can complete this GL purpose. So when you create a new pay item, you just need to tell the system what kind of GL account it will go to. However, this list only gives you a code, and what's the actual 5-digit number behind it, you go to another screen to define it, which is called posting class. Under people, GL configuration, you have posting class. And it's extremely slow now. In here, because you only need one, so I just create a default one. Here you define each GL purpose. What's the actual GL account linked to it? Okay. So that needs to be reviewed and set up properly. Otherwise, the posting to the GL won't be right.
Posting.
Okay. The next important topic is about employee class. They are all related. And you only have one employee class because I don't see why we need multiples. And there's only one default. And on that default employee class, we define the default calendar. Yeah. And we also define the default work cover rate, which is the 0. So telling the system not to accrue per pay, just expense it when it's paid. And we also define it the default payroll posting class, which is the one that we're talking about. So in a nutshell, I shouldn't have closed that one. These three works hand in hand. Purpose, the posting class, then the employee class. Yeah. It's the most important part of today is the pay item setup. I've created a few pay items, but I believe it might have been wiped out. No, maybe not. So I have base hourly. Yeah. And this is the internal system description will appear on your reports, payroll reports. And that's the payslip label will be printed on the payslip. So they can be, usually they are the same, but they can be different as well. And every pay item has to be assigned to a type. You define it whether it's a deduction or employee super or employer super, etc. I think this is stock standard. I haven't made any changes, and they should be self-explanatory on what type you need to assign to each pay item code. And it's important that you have to make it right the first time, because once it's assigned, you can see this field is no longer editable. Okay, so you have to make it right the first time. If you really made a mistake here, you have the option. If it's not used, you can delete it straight away and create a new one with the right type, or you can deactivate it to stop it from being used in future. Yeah. Okay. The taxation, we have a couple of options here. And the most frequently used is the standard PAYG, paid after tax, that's not taxable. Yeah. And we also have a couple options for bonus and the back pay. Yeah. The reason being is if you choose the right taxable option, system will be able to help you to calculate the tax. Yeah. So rather than tax a big amount in one week, it will help you to spread it out. For example, if you pay bonus, say every quarter rather than every week, you want to say that it's a bonus.
Yeah.
And you can tell the system that that bonus is actually paid for the 3 months. So the system will actually divide and do some calculation smart to make sure the tax is calculated accurately rather than tax the whole bonus into one week.
Oh.
All right. You also have the option to say custom rate or custom amount. So that's you want to do manual calculation on the tax rather than follow the tax table defined by the ATO. The rest of the tax options are for termination, and you don't have to worry about them. This system comes with some standard pay items already created to assist with the termination.
Okay.
With the base hour, it's pretty straightforward. You just mark and say pay at employees standard rate, and the modifier is 1. But if it was overtime, you will see I've got a couple of overtime here. I'll say the rate modifier is 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay. And then additional info tab will have a little bit more box to select. And generally, these ones are all self-explanatory. I want to tick this one so the number of hours is printed on the payslip.
Yeah.
And that's the GL purpose that we talk about. Every pay item needs to assign a proper GL purpose so the GL can happen correctly.
Yeah.
That's your hour. And let's have a look at one of the allowance. You pay bonus, maybe? No, that's income. Motor vehicle allowance. Well, I should change this one to allowance rather than deduction.
I don't know. This is what I don't know who sent it.
Yeah, we just received it. That's okay. Then this one, you want to tax it as normal PAYG. I believe it's if it's taxable, then PAYG. If it's paid after tax, then you tax-free option. And that one would be amount based, and amount vary from employee to employee, so that you can override the amount in employees' standard pay. In the ledger, it goes to 1 GL purpose of allowances. Now with the leave, every leave, you would have 2 pay items here, one for accrual, one for leave taken. So if we have a look at the annual leave accrual here, so this annual leave accrual pay item is linked to the entitlement of annual leave, and it's paid at the employee's standard rate. It will go to the annual leave accrual expense account, and it's posted to the ledger.
Yeah.
Okay. And on the other side, the annual leave taken is a normal entitlement payment. It's not an income, it's an entitlement payment. Then it's linked to the annual leave entitlement, paid at a standard rate. People can request leave. I probably will take this one off because your factory closure thing. And when people get annual leave taken, the corresponding leave loading is this leave loading pay item.
Oh, okay.
Okay. On the employee record, you also need to mark which employee is entitled to leave loading. If the employee isn't entitled, then this leave loading will not be added. Okay. However, one important thing I need to understand from you and Rania to confirm is whether you want leave provision to include leave loading. If you do want leave provision to include leave loading, then the setup needs to be changed.
I confirm with Rania.
Okay. So yeah, the pay, each leave will have 2 different pay items to go with. Deductions. I will created a couple of deductions here. The list provided to us is just child support and salary sacrifice, I believe. Those 2 and garnishing order. Those 3. With the child support, in the STP phase 2, there are 2 different child support payment. One is deduction, one is garnishing. You have to report them separately. So I actually put multiple child support deduction code here. The first one is child support deduction, and you apply the protected earning to it. The second one is the garnishing by amount, and the third one is garnishing by percentage. Sometimes you may get a notice to deduct by, say, so every dollar they earn.
Child support deduction, what's that?
Child support deduction is child support deduction, and majority of people will be on.
The second one you said that's there is an amount.
Garnishing. Yeah, that's by amount.
By amount.
Yeah, because you will have different notice from the department. Say, sometimes they ask you to deduct 15 cents per dollar they earned. That's percentage. Or sometimes they may ask you to always deduct maybe $200 from their pay.
Okay.
So that's by amount. Yeah. And garnishing and normal deduction are 2 different types, and they need to be reported in STP separately. So that's why I put multiple child support pay code here and use the one that's applicable to the employee. Okay. On the child support deduction, I have the legislated protected earnings applied. On the garnishing by amount, there's no protected earning because by law you are not supposed to apply the protected earning. And there is a garnishing percentage, there's no protected earning either. Okay. Well, that's one deduction. And next deduction is your salary sacrifice. I assume it's the salary sacrifice to super. Is it right?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, because there's a different salary sacrifice thing. I'm happy to use. Usually people don't use self-sac for salary sacrifice to super. They use something else to indicate that's for super. And there are other types of salary sacrifice as well. But if you get used to this code, we cannot continue use this code as long as you understand it's salary sacrifice to super, not other. And I'll put this salary sacrifice to super here. It's employee super counted in the system. Pre-tax deduction. Amount vary by employee. And there is another one is the garnishing that you mentioned. Garnishing. Yeah. And it's after tax deduction, it's by amount, vary by employee. And waiting for your geo purpose to come through.
For garnishing,
you mentioned there will be a new code for it, but it's not in the system yet.
Oh no, we haven't.
Okay, that's your deduction items. The next one is your super. Super is the pay item in the system as well. The 10.5% super.
Okay.
And on here, a stress, do not take override legislated rates, so that every year when the rates gets increased, the system will be automatically updated with the new rate.
Yeah.
Okay. If you tick this box, then it will stay at this 10.5 and until you change it manually. Okay. We want the system to be able to update it with the new rate automatically. Okay. That's your pay item. And that's all for this screen about the pay item. But with the pay item, there's another important screen, is the pay item liability. This is the screen where you tell the system, work cover because you don't accrue, that's fine. Which pay item you want to pay super for. Okay, like overtime, you don't pay super, so you want to untick these two boxes and keep them off to tell the system that don't pay super when you pay the overtime. Okay. I have actually previewed a couple of options for all the pay items that is currently in the system, but I would have to get either you or Rainier to confirm the setup before we actually process the pay, because this affects the pay calculations. Pay item liability. And the system also have a payroll tax liability report, and it will respect these two columns to determine which pay item to be included in the payroll tax liability report. So it's important to review these two columns, make sure the setup are right. Last but not least is the last one, ATO category for STP. Because we haven't enabled STP in this tenant yet, so you will see a lot of question marks around a couple of options here, because they are not recognized by the system. Once we enable the STP, those errors will disappear.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's also needs to be reviewed before the first pay, so that we can report STP correctly. So important on this screen is the super, the payroll tax, 2 columns, and ATO categories for you. And for other sites, I also add work cover, but you don't have work cover. This system hasn't got any pay processed yet, so whenever you change, it's okay. But once you have pays processed in the system and you decided to change one of the categories here, yes, you can. After you change and save, you also need to do this update pay history action. So that it will go back and update all the historical pays with the new categories that you assigned. Okay. Okay, I think that's all. And the last but item regarding the setup is this recalculate standard pay under employee. I don't see it. See, yeah, this recalculate standard pay. The reason I pointed out here is anytime when you change the payroll configuration, those pay items, pay item liabilities, GL purpose, posting class, any of those, you need to follow it with this recalculate standard pays, so that the change will flow into the standard pay. If you don't do that, you may find the change is not reflected on the pay correctly. Okay. when you go to this recalculate standard pays, all you need to do is just click on recalculate all standard pays. So the system will check everybody's standard pay and to compare it against the latest payroll setup and update accordingly.
Yeah.
So if you do this properly, at any time you come to this screen, I would expect there's no records shown. So it's a good sign that your system is healthy. Okay, that's about your payroll setup. The next topic we are going to cover is the superannuation, how to create a new super funds in the system. There is a menu for it under people. Under superannuation, the first menu item, superannuation funds. Every super funds your employees are with needs to have a record here.
Yeah.
I just show you how to create one, but you can apply it to the rest. There are two different fund type. One is the APRA and the other is self-management funds, okay? With the APRA funds, this system has a library of all the available funds. All you need to do is just press plus, click on this browser button, search for the fund name.
We order one receipt.
Thank you. Fine.
Yeah, well, I see.
Maybe.
Maybe, or the live wouldn't work because the live wouldn't work, and my local system is not linked to the online super fund register, so it doesn't work either. Oh, it's expired. Okay, that's probably why.
Expired.
Because my login credential got why. Let's try it again. This is test. Yeah, it says that I need to log in again. Okay, maybe this time it's going to work. Last try. Potentially someone is maintaining this one. I don't know.
Not even on live, it doesn't let me.
Okay, so I can't show you my, unfortunately, but what you need to do here is just click on this magnifying glass button and start searching for the fund name. I was able to add one path as a super fund here before, but I can't show it now. All you need to just search for fund and choose it, and it will be auto added.
No, it's not working.
Yeah, with the self-management funds, you can add by the ABN. If you get the ABN, you can search by the ABN. Yeah. Once you type in the correct ABN, the fund name will auto appear. The system will recognize it automatically. Of course, with the self-management fund, you also need to provide additional information like their bank account, their ESI, etc. Those are all standard fields required for self-management funds. Do you have any people on self-management funds?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, they can be added as you go.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't have any.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. The next one, the next topic for today is probably going to be the last topic for today because I'm having issue with the pay group. Without that thing resolved, you will not be able to process a test pay run today. But I can at least cover how to create a new employee's basic information in the system. And if the system responds, okay. This is where that I would like to see your screen if I can, so I can guide you to create a new employee. And it's actually quite straightforward. Are you able to share your screen?
So I need to go to the share.
Yes. And then you pick up which screen you want to show to me. Use the screen rather than application. Otherwise, I won't be seeing any pop-up windows, etc. Yeah, I can see your more advanced screen.
So this is yours.
I'm seeing yours, DHS. Oh, that's mine. I've already stopped the sharing, so that's your screen.
Okay, this is you can see my screen there.
I think I can see your screen. Your mouse is moving now. To create a new employee, yeah. So whenever there is a new employee, there are a couple of steps to complete the change in the system. Firstly, you need to create a new employee record. Okay, with their basic information like the address, the name, the date of birth, etc. Secondly, you need to tell the system their standard pay and what kind of entitlements they would have. Thirdly, because you purchased the employee self-service, so you need to give that employee a login to access employee self-service. And generally, these are the 3 steps required. In today's session, because the system is a little bit unstable, we'll try to complete the first step, which is that create employee basic information. This is done by the employee details. If you look at that people screen on the top, there are 4 big icons.
Yeah.
And the second one, employee details, is where you can go to create a new employee. Okay, just click into it. It gives.
I don't know what's happening here.
I think that's happened to me when I was joining. It kicked me out. That's why it says my login has expired. And you are in live or test. You are in live. Can you switch to test maybe? Because we don't know who will be joining the new company yet. Will you be joining the new company or?
But we can delete, yeah?
No.
We can't delete any employee card.
No.
No. If we're not processing any payroll.
Depending on at what stage the employee record are, you may find you're not able to delete the employee record once it's created.
Okay.
So the best, you can either deactivate that record or replace it with the new information. Say if I create this record as Jentong and Jentong is not joining the new company, once you go live, you can pick up the record, still use the same code, but change the first name, last name, all the address, all the details to the right persons, the new persons. Okay. I've already created a new record here. That's me, so that I can help you to implement employee self-service. If you wouldn't mind, just click on the plus sign on the top. That's where you start to create a new record. Just make up a dummy employee in your mind, and we'll create that record in the system. Okay. The employee ID, I can get the system to auto assign using a sequence number, or you can manually nominate a code. Which way you prefer?
System automatically nominate a code.
Okay, I will get that one into the system. But for today, can you just nominate a code? Or even just the E as the prefix of employee. Because you are going to create a new record, you don't need the magnifying glass button to search. So on that field, just type maybe E for employee and the number 001 as the first employee in the system. Yeah, and default status active, and press tab to continue. Now the title is not compulsory. If you want, you can pick up one, but can be skipped. Majority of my sites skip them. First name and middle name and last name, please.
Okay, I'll write my name.
That's okay. Okay. And that's basic information. I'll let you to fiddle around and see what you need to enter. If you look at the screen, those fields with the asterisk in front, they are compulsory field. The rest can be skipped. But for payroll employee record, STP wants their address information. They want their date of birth. So better not to skip them. Even if you just put a dummy information here.
If I can find it, I can't see that position.
So the fun one, you can see the value is entered into the drop down. That's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want this one to be either business one or cell phone.
Cell phone. Yeah.
And the actual phone number is on the next field.
Yeah.
So the auto fill in is sometimes a little bit confusing. I actually would like to turn it off when I work in advanced. That's okay. We've got 2 cell phones.
Okay, so the other one we can take it at home.
Yeah.
And then phone 3, we don't need that.
Yeah, if you don't need it, just leave it.
Yeah.
Leave the blank value, that's fine.
Yeah.
The email address here, I've got a little bit comment here. The email address here for anybody who is going to approve document in the system, not just for payroll leave request, maybe for purchase orders or purchase invoices, anybody who is going to approve, that needs to be the work email address.
Yeah.
Because the notification will be defaulted to that email address. You don't expect people check their personal email address for approval requests during the day. Yeah, that needs to be the work email address. But if the employee doesn't have the work email address, then it's okay to put their personal email address here.
For example, our project accounts.
Okay. Address, you can make up something, the number 1 ABC Street or something.
Yeah.
And country is Australia, or city is the state suburb.
For example,
or where the company is. Yeah. Country is Australia. Yeah, that's why I say that the autofill sometimes is annoying. Actually, if you can turn it off, it probably will going to help us. Yeah, and the state is New South Wales for everyone, potentially. Yes. All right, and the postcode, make up one.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side, from the top, employee class, there's only one option available. You can use the magnifying glass button to select it. And the same with the department. There's only one option if you can. And your fourth work group is for leave request approval. Leave them out for now. And there's a working calendar. Yes. So assuming you're a full-timer, you don't need to change the working calendar.
Where is the working calendar?
The next field, where the cursor is, next field, calendar. It's currently shown as New South Wales full-time.
Oh, okay.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
I wish I can point it to it, but. And at the bottom, you have the personal information, date of birth and gender.
Yeah. Okay.
And the next status is not compulsory, but if you have the information, you can fill in, but otherwise you can leave them out.
Yeah.
Okay, the next tab is the employment history.
Yeah.
This is to tell the system the start date of the employment and which position and which department the employee is employed. So use the plus sign to assign the position. It's active. tick the active box, please. And position. There's only one, I think. You just need the magnifying glass button. Once you get used to it, you don't need to click the magnifying glass button. You can just type staff. It will be accepted. Okay. Whether it's permanent or casual or whatever.
Yeah.
Click them. And right. And if you have apprentice, you can tick them.
Yeah.
And their wages will appear separately on the payroll tax liability report.
Yeah.
Start day of the employment.
Today.
Make up one. And it's a new hire. Okay.
Yeah.
Just one last note on here. Two notes. When this employee gets terminated, system will help you to fill in the finish date and mark the employee as terminated with the termination reason. Okay. If the employee gets rehired,
Yeah.
okay, you don't have to create a new record. You can keep using the original record. Just add a new employment history record on this tab.
Okay, so how?
Well, if the employee is terminated, the first line will be their last employment detail with the start date and the finish date.
Yeah.
You just come to this screen and click on the plus sign.
Yeah.
And enter the second employment.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if I, for example, one employee is terminated, I just click the terminated box.
Well, when the employee is terminated, when you will process their final pay.
Yeah.
When you process the final pay, system will ask the termination date and the termination reason.
Yeah.
Once you completed that final pay, system will put the termination date and termination reason on this screen automatically.
Yeah.
Okay, and say it's terminated, and after maybe 3 months, you rehire the same person.
Yeah.
You can create a new record, new employee record, of course, or alternatively, you can just take the original record and create a new employment history.
Oh, okay.
So that you don't have to rekey in all the addresses and date of birth, all those basic informations.
Yeah.
And of course, from this tab, you see the full employment history of that same person.
Yeah.
Okay. For now, I want to just have one record here. If you can get rid of the second one and then mark the first one as active record.
Okay, so I just remove this one.
And active and without terminated box. Okay. Alrighty, the next tab is the contacts, where you can register the next of kin or the emergency contact, any informations. You can have multiple. Click on the edit contact. Add contact, just above that one. Yeah. So if they have provided, say, at least 2 family members, friends or relatives, you can enter it here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's not compulsory, but it's your HR record needed. Yeah. The financial settings tab, all the fields will be defaulted. And most of the information here is actually used for expense claim of the employee. So if they claim, say that I bought this for the company, for the business, etc., reimbursement. Yeah. But importantly, there is a payment instructions here. That's where you put the employee's bank account.
Yeah.
And an employee can have multiple payroll bank accounts. You put the main one here, which will be used for their expense claim if they claim. Obviously, if they only have one bank account, given to you, then that's the bank account you will be entering here.
Yeah.
Can we make up some number? Say account number 22222 or 4333 or something similar.
Well, it's not like one. For example.
Yeah, and title is the bank account name. And that's the BSB. Alrighty, I think that's all. I don't really need the statement text because there is a payment reference already.
Yeah.
I think that's all about it.
Okay. Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Just ask Romy to answer. One second, I'm coming. Sorry, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I think that's all about how to create basic information of an employee. Obviously, the second step is create the payroll information, which is through the pay details button on the top. But I think it's better not to continue with today because there are some glitches in the system. The pay items has been wiped out, etc., and the pay group doesn't work. So I will need to look at those and fix them before we can actually set up the payroll information of an employee.
Yeah.
If you press the save icon for now, let's save what you've already done.
Payroll. Bank account. Bank account ID. Where's bank account ID?
No, it's not that one. I think this system is a little bit unstable for now. You probably wouldn't be able to save this record at all. Yeah, it has been. You filled in that one.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah. Give it a go and see if you can save it. But otherwise, we might just have to let it go this round and hopefully get a better system. Yeah.
okay.
I think because it's a test system, it's being updated somehow at the back end.
Okay.
On
what attribution?
Well, you see this employee screen has a lot of fields, but if you find there are additional information that you want to capture on the employee record, but don't have an existing field for it, then we can create additional attributes to hold those information.
Oh, okay. Like what?
Okay. An example maybe people assigned to the award.
Oh, okay.
They work on specific award class.
Yeah.
And there's no proper field for it, then we can create an attribute to hold that information.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I think that that's all I can
on this.
go. Yeah, I think it's being weird. I was managed to create one employee record. You can see it was there before, but
yeah. Okay.
What I would do is I will fix those errors and create a new tenant for payroll testing, so we don't get interfered with any future changes in this real test tenant.
Yeah. I'll just go back. Oh, yeah, it's saved.
It's saved?
Yeah.
Does it have the bank account that you entered?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. Well, you're lucky than me. A lot of my changes isn't kept, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I would actually get Katrina to reach out to you too, and maybe book another session sometime next week to complete the rest. And then hopefully Rania can join us that time and can confirm the questions that we discussed today. But before then, then we can have a better system.
If you can just send her email and ask her to confirm those information and CC me as well.
Sure.
I'll remind her. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
And when we can book the next session?
What's your availability next week?
Monday we have one session with Travis, and then that's it. And I'm always here.
Oh, you're always here. That's helpful.
Yeah.
I know. Well, depending on how fast Rania can come back to me regarding those queries, So might be around Thursday or Friday or something.
Yeah. I'll let you know if you leave me, you send me your email.
Yeah.
Your number, I'll call you and I'll let you know when Rania will be available.
Sure.
Okay.
And one last question. Is there a planned date in your mind? Or if you know for the go live?
As we said, we want to start live from September. Well, we see if we can finish and we can do all trainings.
Yeah, if you do go for September, from payroll perspective, I think it's still possible, because you only have very few employees to add into the system. And if you do go live from 1st of September, then the first pay will be on 2nd, which is a Friday.
Yeah.
And we potentially can book some time in the morning to process that pay together.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Hopefully.
It's should be quite straightforward. You only have that many people and unsalaried, so I don't see it's too complicated.
Yeah.
All right, and I will send both of you the questions that I have, and hopefully I can get response, and I'll configure the system for next week's training.
Yeah, that's all.
Cool. All right.
You.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a great
Enjoy
day.
the rest of the day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Thanks. Bye.